My name is Jane, and I'm the missionary with Miss Jane and Friends Gospel Ministries. I have to tell you, God has brought some incredible people into my life. But the most amazing thing is how God has been answering prayers. I want to share with you one of my favorite Bible verses is Jeremiah 29:11. A friend of mine who loves me gave me this so I could have it and see it at all times. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future." I want to tell you a true experience that recently happened. If you're a ministry and you've never been to the International Network of Children's Pastors, also known as CPC, I'd really strongly advise you to go. This past January the 13th, we all flew out. Part of my team got there early. I came late. And when we got there, we needed to go get groceries. Ministry budgets are very tight. I feel like almost all nonprofits know that feeling, especially us. And we had kind of come to the conclusion that this could be the last Children's Pastors Conference we could come to for a while, and that we needed to be super careful at this conference. Now, the wonderful thing about the International Network of Children's Pastors is you hear incredible speakers, you get to take classes, you get to go to this resource center that has everything you could possibly dream about in the missionary land and teaching in churches. And I was so excited to be there. Well, we started out doing something unusual. I have to tell you, I live in the country. You have to have a car. But when we flew in, we didn't get a rental car. So we downloaded something new on my phone and we did something called the Lyft. Now, for all you young people, I know you do new things all the time. But for people like myself, sometimes we're a little slow to try something. Well, then it was fantastic. We met our first adventurous person. He took us to the Walmart. We did all of our shopping. We got another person, a beautiful lady. We were so blessed to get to meet her. She took us back to the hotel where the conference was being held. And then when we got near the place we were staying, we realized, whoa, we have all these groceries in the back because we're feeding ourselves for 5 days, 3 people. And we started figuring out how to pull it out. And there was no cart that could be used. See, God already knew that. Because of that exact same moment, someone beautiful came up, Miss Michaela White. She's the executive director of the Children's International Network. And there she was with her friends, and within a few minutes, all of our food was upstairs. And then I made this statement. I said, I don't know that we're going to get to come back next year. Well, we went to sleep. The next day was classes. It was incredible. And then we got to go to our first extracurricular activity. Group had put on a vacation Bible school kickoff kind of thing, and something that we desperately needed was new materials to take overseas because we work in the Dominican Republic and we work with other Spanish leaders in different countries. And God allowed me to win a vacation Bible skill kit bilingual called Roar. And I have to tell you, on the inside, I'm roaring right now because this is so good. Well, that was like incredible. That was like a $225 or $250 gift right there that money didn't need to buy because God laid that out for us. But God wasn't done. As the classes went on my third day of classes, I met this incredible guy named Josh Deanhart. He's with Kidman Science. Now, I love object lessons. I got to tell you, that's where my sweet spot is. And I watched Mr. Josh and I was totally amazed. And I learned that he had 3 vacation Bible school kits that were science. And I know that science speaks to kids in so many ways. And we use that internationally in our Gospel Impact Kit. Well, I kind of trailed him along behind him. He goes into the resource center. I managed to kind of come in behind him. Now, they were actually trying to close. But I went to Mr. Josh and I asked him something. Now, what he didn't know was, as I was walking to the resource center, I'd called my husband. And I had asked him something. I said, "Daniel, I have $500 of money that I've saved." And I said, "I want to ask Mr. Josh if he would sell me his kits. I'm so sorry for that price." Well, my husband's always supportive, and he said, you can try. So I go up to Mr. Josh and I say, "Mr. Josh, I'm Jane and I'm a missionary and I work for free. And I would like to buy your 3 science kits because we have opportunities to go internationally and these would be so cool to the leaders there that don't really have visuals and PowerPoint and even electricity. And some of your science lessons we could use to train them so that they could teach about Jesus. And I said, I have $500 and I would like to buy all three. And he talked with me a little bit longer. And then he asked me again. He says, well, how much do you want to pay? And I said, $500. That's all I have to pay you. And he was so kind. He said, come back and talk to me tomorrow because now they're really trying to kick us out of this resource center. So the next day is our last day of classes. I go to my first two conferences. I'm excited. I've heard great leaders. We get to go to a lunch VBS with another group. And one of the people on my team won another Vacation Bible School kit. God is so faithful. And then I have 10 minutes before my last class. And I go rushing into the resource center. And there Mr. Josh is. And I go up to him and I say, Mr. Josh, I'm here to pay you for those 3 Vacation Bible School kits. And he said, Jane, come here a minute. I want to show you something. And he takes out his phone. And I'd given him my label that you'd put on the forms. And he showed me the picture on his phone. And there it was, my peel and stick information label that I'd given him. And he said something so kind. He said, I've told my assistant to email that to you. And that's going to be given to you free. And I have to tell you, I just couldn't help but cry. Because I just saw God provide resources that were so needed. And I come back and I thank him again. And then I go to my last class. And I hear a great speaker. And then we have our last general session. Now, the thing I didn't tell you was in our book that we get, that we can take all of our notes, that tells us all about the classes and the speakers and all, was this form that when you go into the resource center, if you will fill out those forms and turn it in, there is a drawing. There's 2 drawings for one person for each drawing to come to the conference free. And then there's this incredible conference drawing for the all-inclusive airfare, room, and conference fee. So the last speaker, just you feel like God is talking straight to you. And they start drawing, and they draw the first one, the person who wins the attendance to the conference for free. They draw the second one, the person who wins for the conference to free. And then they reach in and they draw a name for the airfare, the room, and the conference. And I heard my name. I heard them say, Jane Crissman Poole. And all I want you to know, I wasn't deserving, but God loved me. And he saw where I was. And he did something incredible. Because he made a way for me to come to that conference next year. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know if you're looking at your checkbook and wondering, God, how am I going to pay my bills? I don't know if you're dealing with a health issue or a family issue or some kind of challenge, whatever it might be. But I want to tell you that I'm just a Jane. And I want you to know that our God is real. And that Jesus Christ knows your problems. He sees you. He knows everything about you because you are incredibly made for a purpose. And I wanted to share this with you. It's a testimony to how God sees each one of us. And he comes to us in ways we don't understand. And when we keep looking in the mirror thinking, I can't, God says, I know, but I can. This is a real moment from a real person who's got lots of flaws and lots to learn. And I thank God for every opportunity that He gives me. And I'm truly praying that today, whatever you're searching for, that somehow part of this story helps you see God reaching out to you. God bless you, and thank you for listening.